I'm Steve from ChromaGrapica. I was hoping to meet you all in person at the photography show in Birmingham earlier this year, but unfortunately that didn't happen, so instead you're in my kitchen. I want to make a very short video today, just to give you an idea of what my cameras are, what my accessories are, and maybe just to give you a little walkthrough of each of them to get an idea. There are a lot more information about each camera and details of them on the website, which is Chroma.camera. This is the SnapShot, the handheld Chroma. It's designed predominantly for handheld use. It's very light, it weighs around 600 grams without a lens, but it also has a tripod mount for static work. It uses the same standard spring-back design of all three Chroma cameras, so it will take all standard 4x5 double dark slide holders for sheet film, paper negs. It will also take ChromaGrapica dry plate holders and Chroma wet plate holders. You can remove the dark slide, as with all three cameras, and you have standard Graph-Lock mount compatibility then to use things like roll film backs or the new Chroma Graph-Lock Instax back. This is a ground glass cover in a matching colour. Like both this and the Advanced 4.5, it comes in 9 different colours, so you can stylise to how you like. There's a nice strong ground glass cover so it won't get damaged in your bag. The idea behind the SnapShot is a large format camera that you can just take with you and put in a bag easily. You can go out at lunchtime, shoot some film, whether that's roll film, sheet, paper, whatever you're using. Because it's very lightweight, there's also some strap lugs on the side, so you can put it over your shoulder and go for a walk with it. The beauty of the SnapShot is that the front mount, where the lens mount in this helicoid, this smooth metal helicoid, is adjustable. So these steel rods are simply unscrew and allow you to fit either shorter or longer rods. These are 70mm spacers, so this is set up for a 120mm lens. You can reduce this down to a 10mm spacer and up to around 180mm. So you end up having a range of, you can use anything down to a 47mm Schneider up to a 210mm lens. So it's a really versatile camera. As I said before, the smooth metal helicoid on the front allows for fine focusing, and there's also threaded removable lens boards, so you can use multiple lenses on one camera. You don't need to switch into longer cones, printed bodies, bigger things to store. There's no additional things to store other than these metal rods. The camera also has 3 cold shoe slots on the top, so you can use those for accessories, things like viewfinders, light meters, rangefinders, things like that. Focusing is done as a distance scale. There is a white vinyl on the helicoid for you to mark distances according to your lens. So when you receive your SnapShot, you put it on a tripod, point it in focus to infinity, something a real long way off in the distance, mark that on the lens, and then as you focus more closely, you would then mark whatever distances you prefer. My SnapShot, I've got infinity, 10 foot, 6 foot, and then the closest focusing, which is 2.5 foot with the lens I use, which is a Schneider 19mm 6.8. But again, people using these SnapShots are ranging everything. There are people using with 47mm Schneiders, there's people who've had 210mm lenses on them. It's just a really nice, versatile, lightweight camera. This is the Advanced 4.5 camera. Chroma originally came from a Kickstarter campaign 2 years ago, which was this model. But since then the camera's been developed, improved, and it has made quite a lot of changes since then. So this is a traditional 4x5 field camera. It weighs 1300 grams with the ground glass and the lens board. It has a full range of movements on the front and the rear standards. It also folds up neatly. It has a number of bubble levels included. There's one in the front standard, one in the rear standard, and one in the base, so you can make sure your camera is all level before you start composing a shot, playing with movements, things like that. The lens boards, every camera comes with 2. It's got both a traditional lens board for a shutter, so this will These are made in whichever size you need, whether it's standard sizes or custom size shutters for any other lenses you want to use. It also comes with an 0.4mm pinhole lens board as well. So the idea being that you can, as soon as you receive your camera, even if you don't have a lens yet, you can take it out and go and shoot some pinholes. On the back, got, again, there's a ground glass cover. I'll just show. So the same, there's the matching ground glass cover again. The Advanced 4.5 is available in 9 different colours. They're all shown on the website what colours are available. This is available, obviously. The ground glass cover protects the glass below it. Again, optionally, like with all my cameras, this glass can be laser engraved with grid lines. There's also an option to fit a Fresnel lens beneath the glass. They can be ordered at the same time on the website or added in the future. The back is a standard spring back, so again, so you can use standard double dark slide holders for paper, sheet film, whatever you want. You can also remove the ground glass if you want to fit things like roll film backs, Polaroid backs, or the new Chroma Graphica Instax wide pack. Simply spring back the 2 springs and lift out the ground glass. It's that simple. What you then have is standard Graphica compatibility. So these Graphica cams lock a holder in the top, and the spring plates themselves lock underneath these pins and give it a second Graphica secure, so the back is nice and solid. The back on this, the film back, rotates. This is as standard, it's in portrait format. The benefit of that is it gives a more compact camera. If you want to shoot landscape, it's magnetic. You simply remove the back. There's magnets embedded in that. And there you go, you're shooting landscape now. Really simple, very straightforward. Put that back. The movements on the back, we have rise and fall. So we've got 20mm of rise, 20mm of fall, and it has magnetic 0 points on all of the movements on the front and back. So let's just lift it up and it locks with a magnet. So you know you're at 0 and you can just lock it off with the thumb screws. The base, there is 17 degrees of rear base tilt, unlimited forward tilt because that's how the camera folds down, which I'll show you now. Just put that back to 0. You've also got rear swing, so you've got 10 degrees of rear swing each way. So you just loosen off these thumb screws outside and you can swing the rear body. So you've got massive movements that you're going to want to try. There's a bubble level, bullseye level in the top, bullseye level in the front, and the bullseye level in the bed. Focusing is rear mounted. So again, this is the focus knob, got the little extender bar. So you can do faster focusing if you want to rack it right out. The focal range on this, or the focus distance on this, the shortest distance on the Advanced 4.5 is 70mm. So if you've got a lens with a flange depth, so the distance between the lens and the film of 70mm or more, it will fit on this with a flat lens board. You can use recessed lens boards obviously to go closer. At its furthest distance, the longest flange depth is 285mm. Again, with a flat lens board, you could use a top hat lens board if you wanted to push that slightly further. But that covers a whole range of lenses that are kind of popular across all of us. You know, we all have different preferences, we all like different styles of photography, so you've really got a whole range of movement there. Just moving forwards, the bellows on the Advanced 4.5 are removable. They're magnetic, so there's embedded magnets in the front of the bellows, and on the back there's a little latch at the bottom. You just pull forwards and then slide it down, and you've got removable bellows. These can be switched out for bag bellows, which I'll show you in a moment on the Adventure. But again, these are completely interchangeable between Adventure and the Advanced. So to refit them, very simply, okay, just drop the front in from the side, which isn't simple, and then there's a magnet at the bottom which pulls it in, and then the front just finds its way, and you've now got your magnets your bellows refitted. Moving around to the front movements, we've got again, we've got rise and fall. We've got 30mm of rise, 30mm of fall. Front actual tilt is again only limited by bellows. Rise and fall, again, independent. So the two movements are independently controlled. You see we've got 4 thumb screws on the front standard. The outer thumb screws do tilt, and again it won't move up and down as you're doing that. There are magnets embedded in the front uprights, so it will always zero back whatever position in rise and fall you're in. In the same way, if I then loosen the inner thumb screws, you can rise and fall independently of tilt. And again, if I lock that off now, even at the top, if I add some tilt, the tilt will still zero even at a higher position. So it will always zero wherever it is. You also have base swing and shift. So this is controlled by these 2 thumb screws here. So you can shift. Again, you've got 30mm of shift each way, and you're only limited by bellows on swing. These also allow you to move the starting point for focus. So again, if you can get your rough focus position, and then you can find focus with the lead screw at the back. So if we lock that in, and then there are small markers on the front standard which line up with the edge of the bed, so you know where the central position is for your shift. So if we look back here, say from a movement point of view, we always like to see how crazy movements we can do. So we can go, fully up and down, you can tilt it forward. Quite likely to never use that kind of extreme movement, but the option is there to play with real creative photography. Same with the back. Okay, so folding the camera down is really straightforward. All I'd suggest is loosen the thumb screws on the front and the back. Loosen these, and it's literally a case of folding the front standards back. The front body naturally falls forward because of the bellows. That folds down into place, and then the rear body just drops down over the top of it. And that's it, folded up, ready to go. So it's about 100mm deep, the camera, so it's really compact. It will fit in a bag really easily, along with all the other accessories you end up taking with you for large format photography. Setting up the camera is just as simple. I think the record is about 15 seconds, but obviously I've got quite a lot of practice. It's literally a case of loosen the thumb screws, hold it back up, there's the back set up. It's automatically zeroed because of the magnets for the rise and fall. And then the front, again, just folds up and finds its 0 points, and that's now set up. So it's very straightforward to use this camera. It's really lightweight, and it's a great entry into large format photography. This is the Carbon Adventurer. This model of camera is built from a combination of 3D printed ABS parts and carbon fibre sheet. The main reason for using carbon fibre is the increased rigidity, which allows for a simplified focusing bed, and it also has a bit of a trick up its sleeve, which I'll show you in a moment. Like the Advanced 4.5, this Carbon Adventurer has a traditional spring back to take all holders that you would ever want to use, really. It will take 4x5 sheet, double dark side holders, Polaroid, roll film, Graphics, anything like that. The ground glass removes like my other 2 cameras, I remove simply springing back the springs that hold the ground glass in, drop it in. Uses the same Graphilock compatible standard, and it also uses the same embedded magnets for rotating the back. Very straightforward. As well as the sort of standard Chroma movements, the Carbon Adventurer also has a really clever little trick. There's an extra pair of thumb screws on the bottom. If you loosen those, the whole rear standard slides forward. So the beauty of this is that if you want to use much wider lenses, so your 47mm, 65mm, 55, things like that, a lot of traditional large format cameras don't have this functionality. So what you'll end up doing is you'll get the base of the camera in the bottom of your shot. There's not really any way around that. You can drop the bed on some cameras, but on really wide angle lenses it doesn't get out of the way. So the beauty of the Adventurer is having this trick of sliding the rear standard forwards means that you don't get the bottom of the bed, because there is no bed in front of it at this point in your shot. You can use bag bellows on the Adventure, same as the Advanced. So if I just fit those, they're magnetic, same as my other bellows. You've now got magnetic bag bellows fitted. With the movements, again, you've got 30mm of rise and fall on the front standard. It's magnetic zeroed as well. Your tilt is limited only by bellows, and it's axial tilt, which is much better for composition and focusing. You don't have to refocus every time you tilt them as with base tilt. The rear standard has 10 degrees of swing each way, so again you loosen these upper thumb screws and you can simply swing the rear body. Another very clever trick that the Adventurer does is because of these screws on the bottom which secure the rear body, this entire rear body is removable. The reason I designed it like that is that it's a truly modular camera. So I'm currently working on drop-in replacement backs. There's a 5x7 rear standard as well as a 6x17 roll film rear standard for really wide panoramic. From a point of view of use, again you've got a rear focus action with the lead screw, very smooth focus. As I say, it's a complete carbon body. In total this weighs 1500 grams. So is a nice sort of solid feel to it. You want a little bit of weight behind a camera on a tripod, so this graze is not going to go anywhere on a big tripod, not a Pixie like this. Again, every Adventure comes with 2 lens boards. These are carbon fibre as well, so it comes with a standard shutter lens board as well as a 0.4mm pinhole. And it is compatible with all of my other accessories, which I'm going to also talk about in the video. So things like the Pixl-Latr scanning mount, my ChromaGrapica double dry plate holders, and my wet plate holders. As I say, visit my website at chroma.camera to find more details about all 3 of my cameras, and obviously prices as well. Thanks. Next, I'd like to start talking about some of the accessories I manufacture here at Chroma. To start with, I'd like to talk about my wet plate holders. These are quite a new product I've started selling. Again, they're available through my website, and I manufacture these in a whole range of sizes. This is a 4x5 to fit all Chroma cameras. This is an example 4x10 I've just built for a photographer. I also do 8x10, whole plate, 5x7, Graflex, Series D size. I'm more than happy to talk custom sizes if you've got something in mind, or a particular camera that you can't get holders for. As well as using plates in the wet plate holders, they've also been designed to accept sheet film and Instax wide adapter, so you can use them for 3 different film formats. To put sheet film in, very simple. You just drop your sheet film in there, 4x5 or 4x10 or 8x10, whatever size you're using. There's an inset rail for it to sit on, and then you take this adapter unit, and there's a felt side. You just drop that down over your sheet film and put the lid in place. That then means you can expose it as a sheet film or paper, whatever you want to do. So some people may not want to shoot wet plate all the time. It might be something they do once a month, once every few weeks. In between that, you can use the same holders for other mediums. So it's a real multi-purpose holder. As I say, if you want to shoot Instax, you can, in a dark bag or a dark room, you can take a piece of Instax film out of a cartridge and load it into this little inset tray in the holder. Close the top and then put it face down with the felt side up in the holder. And again, put the lid back on, and you can then expose your piece of Instax like you would with sheet film or paper or the plate. You then simply unload it in the dark, reinsert it into an Instax cartridge and develop it in an Instax camera. These are manufactured with a combination of 3D printed main body and dark slide and a magnetic acrylic lid. They're very simple to use. There are no external fixings, there's nothing to catch on your camera when you're loading or unloading, and as I say, they all come in standard sizes. They have an inset slot for plates up to 3mm thick, And again though, if there's something you're particularly looking for, maybe a thicker plate, something like that, get in touch. I'm happy to look at custom builds as well. One thing I'm very used to is building custom solutions. These fit very simply beneath the spring back on your camera. There you go. So you've now loaded. You pull the dark slide. The dark slide is hinged, so again it doesn't get in the way if you've got a dark cloth over the top, and it's also stays contained within the holder, so there's no concerns over light leaks, any kind of issues with light sealing or losing your dark slide. These are available from our website now, if you go and take a look. Thanks. These are ChromaGrapica double dry plate holders. This is 5x7, that's an 8x10, and we also do them in 4x5 size. Myself and Jason Lane from ChromaGrapica designed these. We've been working together since September 2019. These were then launched via a Kickstarter campaign early at the end of last year. All of the reward holders have now been shipped out. All of the reward holders have now been shipped out, and we're beginning the process of manufacturing or assembling the retail holders. So within the next 6 to 8 weeks, we're hoping to have these available through retail outlets and both my own website at Chroma.camera and Jason's at PictoriaGrafica.com. These are the first double dry plate holders manufactured within at least the last 50 years. They work like a standard sheet film double dark slide holder. So you have a dark slide which you can remove, and then a lid at the bottom, a hinge lid, and then you would slide the glass plate into the body where there are springs to keep it secure against the rail that is beneath, and then you just slide the dark slide back in once it's loaded. The big difference with these over other holders, certainly other traditional holders, is this ejection pin and indicator. So the idea behind this is that if these pins are sticking out, that means you've got a plate loaded. If you can't push it in, that means there's a plate loaded in there, so you don't want to pull the dark slide out until you're ready. Assuming you've exposed your plate and you want to then develop it, what you would do simply is you pull the dark slide out, obviously in the dark or a dark bag, and you can use this once fold the lid down to push the plate out and allow you to get your finger behind to pull it out. So it's a little dual purpose bar that. So yeah, so these are available, these will be available soon in 4x5, 5x7 and 8x10 sizes. These are built to standards, DIN standards, so these will fit any 8x10 camera, any 5x7 camera, and 4x5. They fit Chromas and any other 4x5 camera you wish to use them. Okay, the last thing I'd like to show you today is a brand new product. I only launched it a few weeks ago now, and it's a scanning system mount to use with the excellent Pixl-Latr unit from Hamish Gill. Lots of people use these Pixl-Latrs to digitise their 35mm, 120, 4x5 film, and there are a whole range of setups that people use to mount the Pixl-Latr and their scanning camera, their digital camera, to keep it square. One of the beauties of my cameras and other large format cameras is that you are able to maintain parallelism between the front and the rear standard. That then lends itself into being used as a copy stand, but there needs to be a way to mount your Pixl-Latr in. So that's where this mounting system comes in. It's made from two components. You've got a rear mount, which is what the Pixl-Latr mounts into, simply Chroma at the top. Take your Pixl-Latr, fit whichever gauge you want to use, so whether this is for scanning 120 here, but if you were going to scan 35mm, you put the larger gates in, or if you're going to scan 4x5, you take the gates out entirely. And then you literally just drop the Pixl-Latr in, press it in, and that stays in there with friction. So on the other side we've then got your Pixl-Latr mount, and this is where your film would go. The slots for sliding your film through are still available, top and bottom. So you would load your film in, you can still lift back the rear diffuser to load your film, so you can do that. Pop it back in place, and then all you do to mount it is you take, again, a Graph-Lock compatible back on either a Chroma or any other large format camera with Graph-Lock plates, and literally drop it into place. Smooth the spring plates on a Chroma, slot them back in, turn my, I'm looking back, there you go, turn my Graph-Lock hands, and that's now mounted in place. That's going nowhere, so that's now fixed to the back. So now I have my Pixl-Latr in place on the back, and then I take the front mount, which is designed around a Linhof standard lens board, but there will also be versions for Sinar, Chamonix and a few other manufacturers coming soon as well. This lens board is a strengthened board, it's not a standard board, and it has a printed base with a slot for mounting your digital camera, whether it's a mirrorless body or a smaller DSLR. There's a slot there to allow for adjustment of mounting positions depending on how thick your camera is. And very simply, you just sit your camera on the top and screw a tripod screw for the bottom, which comes with it. And then you fit this in place of a traditional lens board. And that drops in place very simply. And you then have your camera in here facing backwards into your bellows for scanning with a macro lens on it. And you've got your Pixl-Latr on the back with whichever film you're digitising. You can then use either, in the case of a Chroma, you can just move the front standard to get your focus with your macro lens, or, which I prefer, is you can get it in place roughly by eye on the camera, and then you can use the actual focusing lead screw of your Chroma to move the bed forwards and backwards, as you could within a large format camera as well. You can essentially focus your scanning camera according to your film with the Pixl-Latr in the back. From a lighting point of view, kind of see what works for you. I've literally tried it. I've done this handheld and pointed the back at the sky. You can have flash guns pointed at the back, a light table propped up against it, whatever works for you really. That's the beauty of Pixl-Latr, is kind of the invention of finding a way that works for you. But this mount is a really rigid, solid mount then. As I said, you can make sure the front and back are square using the bubble levels on your camera or detents on your camera. One thing you can also do, which benefits from a large format camera, is you can use rise and fall to shoot multiple images, say on a 4x5 sheet. You may want to take multiple images and stitch them afterwards to have a higher resolution image. If you use rise and fall on your camera, in combination with the front and the back standards, it allows you to shoot overlapping images and just have a much higher resolution image at the end of it to obviously gain that benefit of large format. So yeah, so this is my latest accessory. It's available on the website at chroma.camera. I hope you enjoyed this video, seeing what it is I do with Chroma. I'm always happy to talk about any new ideas you might have, any solutions or any problems you kind of looking for a solution for. Get in touch with me through Instagram, it's just Chroma Camera. Facebook, again, it's facebook.com/ChromaCamera, and Twitter is the same. Thanks a lot. I hope you enjoy the rest of this weekend, and I'll be in the analog sort of chat room over the Sunday and Monday. So feel free to pop in and say hello, or if you've got any questions or any queries, I'll do my best to answer them. Thanks.